for the Aussie Gridiron Network.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
That's a short stump to hang that hat on. I think the hat's dragging on the ground.
Mate, I am someone who's well accustomed to having short stumps. It's like a 200th of a Shakti.
Aussie?
The anti-Ron Jeremy.
It's like a Ron Jeremy had an innie. He just got out of the pool. I've been in the pool.
I was in the pool.
NFL.
He's got the same colour hair as the Bengals jersey.
It was just a bit of surprise. That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Mate, I can't wait for that Niners stack to destroy your soul. And Matty, you're a piece of shit. Let's go.
Fantasy.
And obviously that defense is still a bit of a bucket of arseholes.
We're going to have a water bet.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
There's Case Keenum in there, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoyer, TJ Yates.
Australia's premier NFL fantasy football show is back for the Sunday edition. You're listening to the Aussie Gridiron Network. And this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. They call me Matty C. And with me on a Sunday is our very, very favourite fantasy football analyst, the greatest on the whole island, the one who steered us so wonderfully towards all those players on the Thursday night football game in Taylor Talk. For all those points, it's Taylor Goodall. How are you, mate?
Hail to the king! King Henry, baby. Great to be back, mate. Yeah, this is the first time we've ever been able to sort of live react after a Thursday night football game. Obviously, having a bit later in the week recording, but yeah, mate, that was an absolute fucking barn burner. Like, have you seen Thursday night football, like a game like that and that long? Like, Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins just lit the fucking ground on fire. It was amazing. But, mate, can't wait to get in and look forward to this week and obviously starts of the week. And we've got another new person into the ring of fire into this podcast, mate. Can't wait to get into it.
We do. And what's great about this, welcoming a new face into the Aussie NFL fantasy family, and as you say, like the ring of bandits, but a very well-known bloke around the hallways here at the Aussie Gridiron Network. But he's also just the left tackle I trust the most. It's NICK COSMAI from GDAY GRIDIRON. Welcome, mate. How are you?
Oh, good.
Mate, I'll tell you what, as I said before we started, I have no idea how I got onto a fantasy show at all. They trust my expertise at all. Mate, I don't know, but regardless, it's great to be here. I love listening to you guys, so it's good to be a part of a show.
I'm so glad you're here. And you've been with the GDAY GRIDIRON crew over there all season this year. How did that even happen? How did you get recruited by those idiots?
Well, it's funny because Brad was actually a coach of mine when he was down here in Adelaide for years. So he was our online coach. Tremendous guy, exactly how he sounds. He moved to Brisbane, and then actually one of my mates who was in like a Gridiron Academy over there for a few months caught up with him and everything. And I don't know how they got on the topic of me, and then he was like, because previously I had done some Aussie rules commentary and stuff like that. So
really?
I had. And then he was like, look, I know you love the NFL. I know you play it and everything. You know, we'd love to be able to get a perspective of someone who plays in Australia. So went from there, did the first show, and then haven't looked back.
You definitely bring a whole bunch of insight, which is really helpful there. I think it's good to be able to take people under the helmet a little bit as well, in a way that most punters who are, you know, commenting on football and watching football haven't been in the game. So I definitely think you bring something that's really, really helpful to the guys there. And Brad clearly has a whole bunch of that too, but he played back in like the 40s, you know, when he was a young bloke. So it's good to have someone currently playing as well. That's a little shot at Brad being pretty much the only person in the whole network who's older than me. So
And this is like week 26 of me asking Nick to fly over to Tennessee and protect Will Levis. That's pretty much what that guy needs. I know that would be a very full-time job trying to protect that wanker, but mate, I absolutely love what you do on GDAY GRIDIRON, so it's amazing to have you on our show.
Tay, I was going to say, I've seen Tristan Wirth's contract. I don't think you guys could afford me, unfortunately.
Yeah, a princely sum from the Hogs, mate. You got to match the Hogs' money.
Big money.
Yeah, thereof. I don't think Matty and I pulled our money together. We'd maybe able to, I don't know, maybe send you over for a day or something. I don't know. I don't think we'd have enough. Half an airport beer.
Yes. Between us, we could probably almost fund a full beer.
Those things are expensive. Those are very expensive.
One of the things that's a real great pleasure about coming onto this show is the first time you come through, you get a little bit of special treatment. I understand you've kind of learned a little bit about this from having sort of been around the show and seen what we do and caught some episodes as well, mate. But do you think it'll really prepare you for what you're about to endure?
Oh God, no! God, no! It's like when you used to go into like a test or an exam, like for uni or for school, and it's like some sort of test that you've studied for, and you're like, "Yep, I know what I'm doing." And then you get to like the first question, and it's like 2 + 2, and it's like, I better get out the calculator just to make sure that it is actually 4.
Yeah, and then you get some question like, which grain of sand did Moses stand on in Jerusalem back in
Give us the
back in
exact
200 BC? So it's like, yeah, I didn't prepare for that.
Well, mate, hopefully it's not that far adrift from things that you'll be comfortable answering. But we'll see how you go. You'll find very quickly who's your friend in this segment and who's just out to fuck you up. So
I think you can probably have a guess.
Yeah, 100%. We'll kick off with a soft pitch. It's always nice to give a soft pitch to start. And, mate, you've kind of already given us one, so this will put some pressure on you to drag up another one with your AFL commentary thing there. But what's something you think the audience might find interesting about you?
Oh, geez. You've taken the one good thing I had.
You're going to have to dig, man. Dig.
Yeah, geez. There's not many things that are interesting. I would say that you had previously mentioned I still do play O-line. I have played some snaps on the other side of the ball at nose tackle. So
really?
One thing that is interesting about me, a bit like Taylor's free throw percentage, I average a QB pressure per snap, but I won't tell you how many snaps I've had.
Yeah, don't ever. I won't tell anyone how many free throws I took.
Comes away.
All you need is the percentage.
So, mate, if you're this excellent defender, it's kind of funny that they haven't asked you to do more of it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not fit enough, that's why. And we always need O-line. So you worry about the trenches, which is contrary to the show, but worry about the guys in the trenches.
That is definitely more GG than fantasy. Yeah, check out the shirt. You know what it says here? Hogs football, run the trenches, and has the great big hog symbol. Love it.
I'd gladly add O-line to fantasy over tight ends. Those guys can eat my ass.
Tight ends have been a bag of balls this year. All right, Tay. Your turn, mate. Your turn. Break yourself.
If yours was a softball, then mine was a fucking slider. All right, mate. This is what we really come for. We're getting a real nitty-gritty here. All right. If you were in an apocalypse, Nick, would you rather be fighting zombies or aliens?
Now, this is the one I've thought about the most, and I thought let's just put it to the basics. Let's just put it to the basics, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I have to make assumptions based off the aliens, right? It's really in depth, but I have to make assumptions off the aliens, right?
You've thought so hard about this.
Yes, I know. So you assume that the aliens are going to be the aliens. We would think like you base this off of random movies that you've seen, right? So aliens, on average, they'd probably be smarter, they'd probably be faster. I am neither of those two things, so I've got to be playing in a field with the type of species, if you want to call it, that are in my weight class. So zombies, not very fast, not very smart. So I feel like with the zombies, I'd at least be able to, survive longer. Not survive full stop, but maybe survive longer.
Okay.
So you don't want to marry the alien queen, or
depends.
I'm waiting for the person that wants to marry the zombie queen and then have a zombie.
Yeah, we like brains together.
Yeah, look, mate, you broke it down in depth. I love it. That's what we're after.
So are you looking to survive, or are you looking to overcome them? This is the thing I think is also part of the strategy, right? Are you looking to conquer, or are you just looking to survive?
Well, see, this is the thing, Matty. Am I the only one on Earth, or is there other people? Because if there's other people...
There you go.
You can form an army, be able to shoot these, but if you're the only person, it's a bit like survival. And I feel like if it's survival, try and prolong it as long as possible. Maybe an asteroid hits the Earth, just like the dinosaurs, wipes everyone out. So it's all right anyway. So you just start by an asteroid. I don't know.
Get yourself to a Walmart, just bunker down, and just fucking zombies can't do shit.
Yeah. Whereas the aliens might be able to, they might find they've got the technology, might be able to drill into the bunker or something, and then they can get to it. See,
The
think about this.
Sigourney Weavers, as Brad said.
Brad. he had thought about this, hasn't he? And I think he's got some unresolved Sigourney Weaver stuff going on there too, to be very fair.
Some nightmares from earlier.
Well, nightmares, they might be pleasurable. I don't know. Everyone's got their own jive, right? Everyone works at their own pace with this stuff. So, okay, Nick, let's bring it back into reality for a moment. Mate, I understand. Big NFL fan. Who's your favourite team? How did you find them?
So much to your dismay, Matty, I am another 49ers fan within the fantasy group of people. Now, how I found them, it's a bit strange because I have actually got most of my American teams through LA, right? So I first fell in love with the Lakers. I first fell in love with the Dodgers, right? I actually love baseball. I was playing T-ball when I was younger, so I actually loved the Dodgers first. Then I thought, okay, same city. I loved Kobe, so I went with the Lakers, right? And then I fell in love with the sport that I now love the most, which is the NFL.
Yeah,
so that came a couple years after. And I looked at the time and I was like, oh, there's no LA teams. Because at the time, the Chargers were in San Diego and the Rams were in St. Louis, right? So I was like, oh, there's no NFL team. So I don't know, just the team that sort of came on the TV the most was San Francisco. I actually love watching Frank Gore. I love watching him play, and Pat Willis. And then Joe Staley, one of my all-time favorites now, former left tackle for us. And I don't know, I just went with them. I thought, well, this is still in California, so I suppose it's still within the state. Needless to find out, my dad is an Oakland fan. Thank fuck I didn't take that route. But went with the Niners and gone from there.
You were lucky to catch Gore. You know, you only had about a 28-year window to make sure you caught him play.
Super slim.
Super slim.
Damn. So when did you find out the 49ers suck?
Cup door.
Jeez, there's a few times. The first time was actually that Jared fucking Hayne. Oh god, what a disaster that was. The whole thing where he hit sticks someone and goes out of bounds and it sent Australia into nuts. I'm thinking, what? Really? This is the attention we're getting? Wait till we win 2 games this year, and that's what we won. What else? Then we had Chip Kelly, and then more recently, it's just been, we just can't get it done. We can't get it done. We can't. And you know what? I don't know what Manjot. I still haven't got Manjot's stance on this, but
oh god,
they refuse. They refuse to move on the coach that cannot get it done. And I don't care. And you know what? A lot of people got good praise for Shanahan, but at the end of the day, he's shown it too many times he can't get it done. If he can't get it done, you got all this talent. What are we doing?
It kind of feels like the moons are aligned for this run to happen, and you've been super close. Yeah, I definitely get that. It would be super frustrating. I never had that problem though. My team has never been on super nice long runs of sustained success, so I don't know the torture that you're feeling, Nick. I'm really sorry, I can't relate.
You never get heartbroken. You'll never get heartbroken. You get the disappointment early, and then you'll be able to enjoy the playoffs as a neutral. No stress. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Mr. 0-4 over here, just having a great time.
Yeah, we don't even have a heart to be shattered.
Yeah. We're both trying to get a win. We're just trying to get a win, Nick.
We just needed half of Miami's team to be out to beat them. We're going great.
I will say to all the Atlanta fans out there, I did say this on my first episode of GDAY GRIDIRON, but to all the Atlanta fans out there, I understand the pain. There is no coming back from an overtime loss. Again, everything was right there, and nothing this year in any sport, in any teams I follow, can emotionally attach me because it just broke me. Just absolutely broke me.
I bet.
It's just fucked. Anyway.
I can imagine that there's a level of, being so close and still not getting the ultimate glory, and then watching someone else take that glory would be super, super gut-wrenching. And again, I'll probably never know what that's like. So there you go. All right, Tay. Yep. This is the big one. This is the one that has undone many a human being.
It has. It's mentally broke. The strongest of men. So here we go. Got some absolute gold out of some people this year. So, Nick, what would you put on your NFL fantasy Tinder profile?
NFL fantasy Tinder profile. You know what? I thought about this one as well. Not as much as the zombies one.
Did you?
But in all honesty, I would probably just put something just basic, just simple. I'll just put a hashtag justice for the lineman. because there needs to be, as we said before, there needs to be linemen in there. I feel like it's going to get a rally, you know, a few hit-ups and everything. So we'll go from there.
The only time people ever know anything about offensive linemen is when there's a flag. That's the only time we ever see those buggers.
I know. You know, what fit the criteria for what most women would be after, like big people, like protectors, you know, it fit the category. Earn good money, you know.
And you're going to get it. You're going to get a nice lady with something like that. Whereas, you know, put my cheese in your head, you know, CM Seaman.
That wasn't so good. CM Seaman was not so good.
You know, we're definitely up to some different people with some of our NFL fantasy Tinder profiles. Definitely. Probably some Saquon these nuts.
Saquon these nuts.
I just made that up on the spot, but you know, it's definitely some different ideas out there on what they put on their profile.
You see, I like that, the idea of a bit of protection, and yeah, I like that. That'll net you a nice sword, I reckon. Nick, look at you.
I've done the preparation, so that's the advantage I've had.
We'll wrap this one up with, you've been playing fantasy for a little while, Nick. How long have you been playing fantasy, just quickly?
Honestly, not that long. I think only 5 or 6 years.
See, that's not just a short period of time. 5 or 6 years at anything's a while. In that period, is there one guy who's been your favourite fantasy player?
Across multiple years, I would have to say. So yeah, it's tough because I had a few like guys that did like individual seasons. Like for example, I remember the year that Cordell Patterson had at the Falcons.
Yeah,
where he just went through the roof, and I got him off the waiver wire. I remember I got him off the waiver wire like week 2. And I was just like, all right, this guy's getting some touches. Let's put him in. Let's see what happens, right? Same on the bench. And he went mental. And it was the best because it took me all the way. Just stuff. And I literally needed a running back. And he came through, and I got him for free. And I was like, oh, my God, this is the best. So I do that. So every time, so I see him on the Steelers, and I keep saying, you know, could he please try that? Nah, but that won't happen. Won't happen this year.
Those guys mean the most. When me and Matty always talk about it, it's like not the CMCs and the guys you take like in the first round. It's always like awesome waiver wire pickups in the middle of the year that take you to glory that you got for absolute free. They're the ones that people remember. Like even, you know, Isaac brought up Tank Dell last year, who obviously had the injury. But you remember even just like that 3-week period that you got someone for free and they dominated? It means so much more than just the guys that you drafted.
I did not think when I got up this morning, Nick, that I was going to hear Darrell Patterson's name in your mouth. So thank you for bringing me that. That's what a beautiful moment.
He actually had a moment last week. He actually was killing it on the ground, then all of a sudden got injured himself. So he was almost back again.
Unbelievable.
In the beginning there was nothing, a featureless void. From the formless primordial state, a legend was born when forces combined to create a solid object of significant value. As planets were formed and Earth itself was shaped, the object lay awaiting its destiny. Seas rise and fall, mountains emerge, and upon the highest mountain, an intrepid adventurer happens upon the object. A worthy prize for ascending this to the tallest of peaks. This object has been documented to be held by many of the great dynasties of mankind, from the Persians to the Hans, the Mongols and the Ottomans, lives lost defending it from those who seek to possess it. Now it is in the trust of 3 wise men, who also reach such pinnacles, to be held by he who imparts the most astute knowledge upon fellow mankind. The winner of the annual Aussie NFL Fantasy Show Starts of the Week.
The segment that we run and the end of the week, and this is how we wrap up our week here at the Fantasy Show, is to pick our starts of the week. Tay, I feel like you're the right man to wrap this from last week and what happened and how it all sits now. Tell us a little bit about week 4 starts of the week.
Yeah, look, mate, I guess I'll have to take this on. I guess there's some decent things to talk about. But, look, mate, it's very good. We obviously we didn't shirk away from how things were going in the first couple of weeks. We came on here and basically gave ourselves shit. And the world were absolutely dominating after 2 weeks. 2 massive wins. You know, you obviously weren't scoring too well, but at least you got 2 seconds. And I just was up the absolute asshole end. Scoring about
mate, we look like monkeys. We look like fucking monkeys.
25 a week, I think I was scoring in the first 2 weeks. But get 2 losses to start the year, but the last 2 weeks have been amazing. Obviously getting 90 last week for myself, and this week getting 66, I believe, was a very good score as well. So to get the 3 points 2 weeks in a row, it's very good to see that come back. I feel like I'm starting to see the ball, starting to hit him out of the middle now, Matty, and not fucking edging it to slips anymore. Bit of a cricket reference. Obviously, getting some points back on World last week with the World getting third. Poor Brendan didn't really score too bad himself, scoring, 45.
He had a good week.
Actually win a week. He didn't really go too bad, so don't feel too bad, Brendan, but I'm sure Kev will make you feel like shit for the rest of your life. And then Matty sort of is just doing this thing where he just gets second every fucking week. So good for him. But anyway, obviously bringing Nick on this week. He's the world man. He's going to try and get world back into the winning ways. And so I'm looking forward to hopefully my 3-peat of wins.
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? And I've been playing this segment this way, Nick, is that it's you and I against Taylor, okay? Because I'm still trailing Taylor, and that's not good for my brand. But I also, I know the world is leading, but I think if we just team up and we just make sure we box Taylor out, a
rebound's gone up, and you're trying to box me out.
It's So it's us against Taylor because it will be good for world brand, and Kev will be happy with you, and it'll be good for my brand. And fuck Taylor, whatever, he can fend for himself.
That's pretty much the tagline of this podcast: is fuck Taylor.
Yeah.
Fuck Taylor. Jeez.
The problem here is because Taylor won the segment last week, he gets to choose the draft order. I'll do a quick recap on the ladder too. World currently leads 9 competition points, 199.9 aggregate. Taylor in second on competition points, but 212.88 in aggregate, thanks to that all-time score in week 3. And then old Matty C taking it up the rear, bringing up the rear, something like that. 7 points. Only a point adrift of Taylor, only 2 points adrift of World. But I've got a gentleman's 152 down the bottom there in aggregate. So, a bit to do.
The good thing about this segment, and I've just proved in the last 2 weeks, is how quickly it can change, though. I mean, it's even in the aggregate side of it. I was last by a country mile 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden I'm first. So things can change really, really fast. That's just how fantasy football is. But all right, to the order. So generally everyone so far has picked first. To be fair, Pete tried not to pick first and still did with his game and his little
that
wheel.
Was so funny.
That was pretty cool. But this week I'm not going to go first. I want to change it up, sort of mix it up. I don't want to just be this guy on a flat track bully just constantly picking first and trying to win from there. So I'm going to allow Nick as our guest to go first.
Let's go, Nick.
I'll take second, and I will put Matty at the arsehole end.
World 1, Taylor 2, Matty 3.
Why not? Stick to it. I'm being the meat and the bread. Pretty thick meat, and one bit of bread is very thin in Matty C. So it's a really weirdly odd shaped sandwich.
It's a sad sandwich that I'm the bottom slice too. The piece of crust you're sometimes going to loaf of bread that's just kind of mis-sliced and it's a bit shorter and thinner. You should have that on the top. You don't want that as the bottom piece. That is not a good foundation to your sandwich.
Basically, the bottom with me laying on it is a pancake. It's basically a pancake, meat and bread.
And you get me, which is a little crumb off, the end of a rissole or whatever is the meat when I'm in the middle.
And we've done some great procrastination here. So if Nick's ready, he's on the clock.
Jeez, I could have gone with some more procrastination. That's all right. Anyway,
we could do it all day. We'll turn this into a 4-hour podcast.
Here we go. Nick 1. Let's do it.
Pick one. I wasn't expecting to pick one, but okay. Woo. All right. I'm gonna go with a running back to start off with. He's just under the 50% as well.
I think I know.
It just fits in. So we have got Jerome Ford this week at Washington. Washington's defense, even with Dan Quinn there, still quite shaky. I do think with Ford, he's gotten a lot more sort of receiving targets as well. So he's been able to collect some points with catches and stuff as well. So it's not just running the ball. He's been sort of a dual threat option. The Browns, you suggest, would be playing a little bit of catch-up as well. So they should be running the ball early if they can get that going. He should be a viable option as well to keep pace with what Jaden Daniels will deliver on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
I
love this.
I like it. I'll be
7
honest.
targets, 7 receptions last week for forward too. So nice get, Nick.
He's been the perennial drop in and out of this segment like every week.
Yeah.
He's like yo-yoed. It's like he's kind of always been around. There was definitely a couple of weeks there where he jumped out, like he was too high, only just, and we would have to rule him out, and then he'd come back in, and now it was interesting. Like I actually didn't even have him on my list, but that was purely because I think mentally I had just like thrown him out, like thinking he was out because he'd sort of he jumped out of it like last week. So my assumption was he didn't go bad enough to come back in. But
Nick's got you, mate. Fucking jump scared you with Jerome Ford,
particularly with the bye weeks. Yeah,
especially the bye weeks, I would have thought he would have been higher.
Yeah, and he might wind up there, but this is a great pick because I checked him this morning and he was 49% owned. So Nick has fucking gamed the shit out of this.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I saw 48, so he's kind of hovering around that, which is perfect. And he's the kind of guy.
And if he's on the decline, that's even better because that 100% fits the segment. He's a guy who's iffy.
Yeah. 100%. I start him in Astro every week, and I'm never really sure if I want to. So it's
and that's a 16 team.
Pretty much exactly how this feels. All right, so running back off the board into my second pick. Obviously, just basically at this point, just looking at what positions I think have the least depth. There's a few positions I kind of like. I'm going to take Justin Fields at quarterback.
Yeah. Okay.
Sort of 41% I looked this morning. I love taking rushing quarterbacks in this segment. The way it's sort of scored, obviously, with the 6-point rushing touchdown but 4-point passing touchdown, makes a massive difference. I talked about that with Jaden Daniels before he bursted out of this segment a couple of weeks ago. And honestly, Fields proved last week that if he needs to, if the defense isn't dominant like it was in the first couple of weeks, if he needs to be in a bit more of a shootout, he can. And he's obviously going to get his legs going, and it just gives him a great baseline. So, yeah, I trust him. I think Dallas can keep up a bit too. I don't think this is going to be this like dreary game they had against the Chargers a couple of weeks ago where it's just all running the ball. The fucking Cowboys can't run the ball at all. So they're going to have to throw.
No, they can't.
And yeah, I consider the Cowboys scoring enough points to make Justin Fields have a decent fantasy week.
I like the pick. I really like the pick. He was top of my list, of course, because he brought me 31 points last week in this segment. I only had him picked mostly horseshit after that, so
we'll keep that up.
Pick here, Matty C.
Will be amazing.
Round one comes to a close. I'm going to go and take my wide receiver because I feel like this is a slam dunk pick. We had seen the involvement increasing, but now with somebody else in that receiving core, now not going to start. It only makes sense that without Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson is the slam dunk here. He's 25% owned when I was last doing the updates on the research. I imagine he'll creep up, but in a world where he is, he hasn't proven himself to be a super trust-wile option, but he's had 10 targets twice already, including most recently last week, and now without Neighbors, it feels like that's probably a good enough spot to run at. They're playing Seattle in Seattle, so it's not like it's not risky. They have been one of the better passing defenses against fantasy. Whether that's true in NFL or not, they certainly are in fantasy points. So it's not without risk, but I feel like he's the one wide receiver this week. Now with the Neighbors news, that makes the most.
What's funny is like he was second on my list, and there was another guy I've got on my list who it fits the exact same bill in a way, and so I wasn't sure which direction you were actually going to go because there's someone else that also lost someone too. So yeah, it was interesting. I wasn't sure exactly which way you were going to go.
I wanted you to panic. I wanted you to start feeling a bit sweaty and nervous, Tay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm sweaty in almost any situation.
Trying to get you uncomfortable. Trying to do. Yeah, no, don't let Tay get comfortable in this segment. Whatever you do, Nick. Oh my God, you got to keep cutting them moving. Yeah.
Keep boxing him out.
Give him on his toes. Box him out.
It's all about the box out. Tiny little Matty C boxing Tay out for a rebound.
It's going to be some Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
Like watching Kyler Murray try to box out Dontari Poe. Yeah.
100 rebound game. He's going to have the sign up like Wilt did for the 100-point.
Yeah. 100 rebounds, though.
100 rebounds. Jeez, that's a lot of fucking misses.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys have got there's a running back gone, a quarterback gone. I've now taken a wide receiver. And I'm going to go and take my tight end now. So we've got one at each position out.
Does he take his
I've
boy?
got two guys.
Boy.
One guy is right on the edge of the 50%, and I'm going to leave him as my go back to because I'm going to test a guy here. Because it's iffy if he's playing or not, it's a bit of a risk. It looks like he's trending to play. I've got Evan Engram at 37% started in my list, and I'm trending to start him in Astro League if everything goes well. But I realise by taking him, I'm either taking somebody who may well end up over 50% started if he goes, but also maybe he doesn't go and I could easily hit the zero. So this is where I'm throwing it to you guys to say, are you allowing Evan Engram or do we just go ineligible?
I'll jump in here, Nick, just because there's kind of a precedence from a couple of weeks ago with something I took. Like, I feel like this is very similar to Jake Ferguson. And this was kind of what I brought up was like, yeah, he's iffy. And then you also aren't sure exactly. Like, you would assume he would go back into his normal role if he's healthy and he comes back. But because you're not exactly sure what that health situation is, are they putting him out there 60% right? Like, I find it iffy enough, especially in tight end, where, like, you've even seen the best players suck ass. Like, so I kind of don't feel like Evan Engram off an injury is like this slam dunk, like, play. So I would say yes, because this is exactly what I brought up with Jake Ferguson 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I actually thought about having Engram on as well because he could be coming back, and potentially with the Jags have to get a move on.
Yeah.
So he was on my list as well. It wasn't towards the top, but it was sort of considered like if the tight ends are off the board, I'll maybe take a shot sort of thing, see how he goes. So yeah.
Okay. I like how you think, though, that you also had him on your list. It sounds like Taylor did not. So.
No, I didn't. I just gone in a bit of a different direction, to be honest. Like, yeah, it's like I did that Jake Ferguson thing a couple of weeks ago. This week, I just thought, fuck it. There's a couple of guys I like around the 50% anyway. So, yeah, I didn't bother. But, yeah, I like the pick.
So that gives me Wandale and Engram, and the tight end who I was going to go as my backup, still not to be named then. And we'll see if one of you guys picks that guy up or not. But it puts Taylor back on the clock here in the middle of round 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know I'm picking. I'm just doing one last check. Yep, he's definitely under 50. Nice. It's sort of kind of similar in a way to what you brought up. He didn't really lose the one in his team but I do think that losing essentially another option in this receiving core is only going to help him. I'm going to take Dontavian Wicks up against the Rams. They just ruled out, they made Romeo Dobbs doubtful. So, again, like, he's not obviously the one or anything, but he's at least just another option that it takes away that you have to sort of worry about. Dobbs sort of has a good connection with Love too. So, it's basically seems like it's going to be Wicks and Reed. So, and yeah, I feel like Wicks is going to be the deep threat. Reed's going to be getting sort of the Debo role, like he does really well. And I just feel like against the Rams, that Rams defense is fucking awful. They're 24th against wide receivers in fantasy so far this year.
Shit.
I just feel like Wicks is in for a really, really good day.
Oh, I love this too, because Dubs, he got 8 targets last week, which is like the season high for him. And he's not catching a ton. And there's also like Christian Watson is still around. So, yeah, it's not like there's no risk in this. Yeah.
He got injured too, didn't he? Yeah. Watson, is he playing? I'm not sure.
I was going to say Watson's out, I think, as well.
Yeah. So
there you go. Okay, cool.
Just basically those two.
I knew he still had a designation.
Yeah. He's 44% started, so he's on the right. He's up. He kind of risen to that moment, to that spot. So he's still iffy in the way that not more than half the people still aren't starting him. But he's the kind of guy I think if he has an awesome game this week, he could rocket ship himself out of this segment real quick.
Ooh, okay, so that puts Nick back on the clock for 2 picks to close out round 2 and open round 3. And one thing to know here, Nick, is I've got a wide receiver. Taylor's got a wide receiver, so you have no pressure to take a wide receiver now. Good chance to take your quarterback and tight ends just to make sure the Taylor's left with scraps. Fucking scraps for tight end.
I was looking at those 2 positions. So, all right. I suppose it doesn't matter which order. So the next pick
all about fucking Taylor up. Just remember, it's whatever you do. It's all about fucking Taylor up, okay?
All right. So one of them, I think I'll play it a bit more safer in terms of the pick. Just for a bit more of a well-known name. He is just under that 50%. I've got a feeling I think it's the guy that you were thinking of, Matty C, as well, and that's Pat Fryermuth.
Damn it!
Yeah.
I want to stack
against
him with
Dallas.
Field.
I don't know if you guys had listened to the GDAY GRIDIRON podcast from this week, but I have no faith in Dallas this week. They are without Demarcus Lawrence. Micah Parsons might be out as well, so they're going to be able to run the ball. Then they're going to be able to have Fields is going to have a lot of time in the pocket, so it's going to be a good pick with Justin Fields.
Yeah,
they're going to be able to pass on them. They're going to be able to run on them. Dallas won't get near him. But I think Frymouth should be due for another good week as well. Dallas's pass defense isn't fantastic.
Nope.
I mean, their run defense is horrible, but their pass defense isn't that great as well. They haven't quite adjusted to what Zimmer is doing yet. So I am going to go with Frymouth.
Can I ask you a question, Nick, before you take his pick? Did you have Dontavian Wicks on your list at wide receiver?
Yes.
Do you think you probably would have taken him?
I had two other guys ahead of him.
Fuck. I played the game wrong. I looked at Wicks and I thought, I want Frymouth, but I thought Frymouth was a better chance of getting back to me. I honestly thought that Wicks was just so known out there that I thought I needed to take him. So, good work.
Let's go, Nick. Let's go.
I did have that rebound. You boxed me out.
This is how you play the segment, Nick. Mate, I want you to be my teammate every week.
I did have Wicks. I did have Wicks on my list, but he wasn't going to be my first selection. It was depending on how the draft. There's a few guys I've got on my list that it was like, depending on how the draft goes, sort of thing. So, next pick. I am going quarterback. Now, this is a guy that I'm taking a little bit of a risk on, but based on the matchup and he got a little bit of his feet underneath him last week at quarterback, I am going to go with Caleb Williams. I think it presents another good matchup this week. He's able to get his feet underneath him against a bad Rams defense last week. So, and I think they've got some guys coming back as well. They'll be able to run the ball still efficiently, which will help him be able to get out, read the field, read the defense. So I think Caleb Williams, he should be due for another good week against a soft opponent at home. They'll win easily. I think Caleb Williams this week should go for another good week.
And I mean, he's kind of had that one good week against Indianapolis, right, where their defense is kind of shite, sort of like Carolina. But he's at home this time, and he did show some green shoots last week. So, I'm pretty confident with that. I like that. I looked long and hard at him too. I didn't end up writing him down, but man, I looked really long and hard at him. Man, if this is the week where he goes boom as well, how fun would that be?
Oh, yeah. And I've got him in one of our AGN leagues as well. So, and I think it's one of them where my team is absolutely shite. So I'm going to need him to have a very good week.
You need
It's also a hope pick as well as a long shot.
Well, I'm going to cheer for Caleb Williams with you, mate. I'd say round 3, he needs a running back or a tight end. Now that there's 2 tight ends gone, no pressure on Tay for that. I'm expecting a running back from this lovable mug.
That is what I am doing. Running back again. This is a bit different for me this week. I've had some other weeks where I've picked first because I've felt like there's been like one guy I've been a lot more keen on than others at running back.
Yeah.
Like I took Hubbard last week because I just thought everyone else was just assholes. Whereas this week's different in the way that I don't actually have anyone I'm really stoked about, but I actually have like 8 people on my list. Like I kind of feel like there's a lot of okay options, and I'm just trying to decipher which one of them I feel like I'm sort of most confident in. There's one guy that sort of fits the bill in terms of being the highest started percentage. He only sort of just fits under 50%, but I don't love the matchup. There's also like question marks in that backfield. It seems like he's the guy, but who knows? What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take the recent news, and I'm going to take Trey Sermon up against the Jags. The Jags have just been so bad everywhere defensively and on the ground especially. But, I mean, to be honest, they're 26 against running backs. I think they're last against wide receivers. Like, I just feel like this offense, whether it's Flacco or Richardson, I feel like Sermon is the guy that's going to go well either way. It's more the receivers and everything that I think are going to need Flacco over Richardson, but I'm not worried about who starts with Sermon. I think he's going to have a great day either way.
In my list. Had you sort of considered him too, Nick?
I actually hadn't, because I had some guys ahead of him, but it is a good shout out because no Jonathan Taylor and Trey Sermon has come from the product of Shanahan's running backs. So against a weak sort of run defense. Could be some points that could be had there.
Horrible run defense.
And they talked him up all preseason like he was the clear like backup. Like it didn't, you know, sometimes it's a bit like iffy about like who's actually stepping into that role, but this doesn't really seem like that. That seems like an obvious, like he gets 80-90% of Jonathan Taylor's role.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the definition of the handcuff, right? He's had like 7 carries all year, but now Taylor's out. I expect him to just do Jonathan Taylor's job.
We saw Zach Moss last year absolutely dominate with it. And the Colts' offensive lines are really good. And that's what gives me, like, you know, more confidence that he's going to be able to have a good yards per carry. I don't know exactly what it looks like in the passing game, but if he just has a good game on the ground, I'll take it.
Going for the Jordan Mason week 1. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So 1% started at this stage, but I imagine that will shift because the news of Jonathan Taylor being ruled out is much.
I saw 17. I saw it go up to 17.
Yeah, see, there you go. It's on the move. It's on the move. Yeah.
It's on the move. I still feel like it probably might start at 50 just because, like, yeah, you might get the people who handcuffed Taylor, but, like, I picked up Sermon in a league and I still don't even know if I could start him. Like, it's not like a slam dunk play. It's just like, I think this guy gets a fair bit of Taylor's role. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to end up over 50% or not, but
it's one of these ones, like, you know, if you're in that iffy spot where it's like, okay, so you don't have Jonathan Taylor, so you're going to start Tuba or Sermon. Yeah. I'm probably going with Tuba.
Mate, you know me and Tuba.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I got a tuba in my pants.
Yeah, mate, you're not the only one. I found running back the hardest spot to get this week too, because once I had forward and I'm like, okay, he's eligible and I like him against Washington, but I was actually super glad that Nick just leant out, grabbed him from the pantry and ran. I love that. But it just meant I was in the same position, Tay. I've just got all these dudes who are like, so I don't really mind which one I end up with, which is why I was pretty happy to punt the position. And then I kind of found the same with quarterback. It's kind of like, gee, I would have loved to have Fields. But after that, so, you know, you guys kind of took those 1-2, and it just meant to me, you know, well, go and get the guys you care about at the other position. Come back. It means that I'm kind of a bit funny at running back because I just don't know what to do there. And really what I was thinking is I might just go for the guy who's got to me, I think the most guaranteed kind of volume, even if the volume might be hard to trust or not great, but they're just going up against the Raiders, which I think is a good place to run. So I'm going to go and plug Javonte in and hope that this is the week where Javonte does something kind of nice.
He's been disappointing, hasn't he? And he's getting the volume. Like, I even had a look. So I am just in absolute wars in one of my dynasty leagues. Like, I am just putting out any arsehole I can find. And I've got Jaleel McLaughlin on my bench. And I'm like, looking at it, I'm like, what's the volume split between him and Javonte? And Javonte still had 16 carries last week. So he's got the opportunity. He just hasn't done a lot with it. It's been weird. So, yeah, like, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if I woke up like on a Monday and he just had a really good game because of all the volume. But yeah, I can see why he stays under 50% because it's just so dodgy.
Mate, 15 for 60 and a touchdown. That's all I want.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not asking for, you know, 28 carries, 126, a touchdown in the air, a touchdown on the ground. Like, I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for some points. And he gets the volume. And man, if you can't get it against the Raiders, then maybe it's for the scrap heap. I don't know, but that's where I'm going with that one. And then quarterback was the position I felt the least conviction over. But you know what I'm going to do? You don't, do you? I'm going to go against the pick that I had with Wandale, and I'm going to go take Gino in the same game. I wondered if I should take Dan Jones and stuck it up, but I went, no, I'm taking the wrong quarterback. I'm going to take Gino. So that's my move.
Gino's playing well. They're rolling the absolute piss out of it. Like, it didn't surprise me in that game against Detroit.
Pass-first offense.
Detroit's hard to run on, so I was surprised. Even though obviously the Giants will be easier to run on, I still think, like you said, I feel like this team wants to pass. So, and when you've got Metcalf, JSN, Lockett, like maybe one of the best receiving calls in the league, why wouldn't you pass?
Yeah, so that's my team. I've got Gino at quarterback, Javonte at running back, Wandale Robinson as my wide receiver, and Evan Ingram as my tight end. I kind of feel like that is a cheat code team to kick all your asses. As long as I kick Taylor's ass, that's really what I care about. Well, all right, take good luck picking a tight end from this bag of spare parts and hairy nutsack like residue. Good luck.
Okay. Now we've all picked running backs. Can I just I'm going to quickly just tell you my list because I had so.
It was on your list. This fucking clown car of bullshit.
Chase Brown, Chase Brown, just because he obviously had that sort of like little mini breakout last week, but I kind of came up on the pod earlier in the week and said I think Zach Moss is actually a guy you should trade for because I still feel like he's the lead.
I agree.
I had Rico Dowdle against the Steelers, but that Steelers defense is really hard to run on, and I just didn't trust it. Kareem Hunt was the guy that I had just under 50%.
Yeah.
The Saints are decent against running backs, and I just don't want to all of a sudden play Hunt, then all of a sudden it reverts to fucking Samaje Perine, or they let Carson Steele have a go again. It sort
He's
of
also got a funky shoulder to Hunt, so he was limited with a funky shoulder.
Tracy, now that Singletary's out, I thought it's not a bad shout against the Seahawks, but again, we still don't even know what the split would be between him and like Eric Gray. I even put Roshan Johnson, but DeAndre Swift had a good game, blah, blah, blah. And then Alexander Madison popped up for me because Zamir White's out. So Madison will probably get all of it, but that Broncos defense is something I don't really want to go against either. So, I just thought I'd bring up a list. Like I had so many guys that were sort of just around the same. But
Justice Hill and Eckler also made my list as well.
Yeah. Is Eckler definitely playing? I know he obviously had the concussion, and I know he had a designation, but I'm not sure.
Not definitely, but he's practicing, so it's a good thing.
Okay. Tight end's been kind of made it easier. I only have 3 guys on the list. Frymuth was obviously one, the stack of Fields. And the other one I kind of can't really take because I'd be taking 2 Packers. Obviously, I put Tucker Kraft on there.
Tucker Kraft.
But I'm going to go Conklin. I'm going back to Conk. Let's go, baby. The Vikings are 28th against tight end, and because they're so stout on the ground, again, you kind of have to pass on them. And I know...
Yeah, they're a funnel.
Yeah, I know. Their numbers got a bit sort of skewed from last week because obviously the Packers had to come down. Like, they had to obviously throw so much in the second half because they were so far down, and they did it quite well, and it kind of skewed some of their tight end and wide receiver numbers. But just generally, I think that's going to have to happen. I liked Conklin last week. Hopefully London isn't pissing down rain like it was in New York last week, and Rodgers can throw a bit better. I just think Conklin, you saw him the week before that have a really big game of 90-odd yards. So I'll take less than half of that in tight end.
Yeah.
So I like him. I just think he gets looked at by Rodgers a lot. He had 8 targets still last week. Yeah. Fire him up. Conk.
Fire him up. Conk. It's the dumbest thing that we do on this podcast, I think, Conk.
It's the dumbest and the best.
Sorry, Nick, you are subject to our utter stupidity. We are children. We are 100% children. That's the problem with this. Neither of us are the adult. Mate, your team now, Tay, has Fields, Sermon, Wicks, and Conk. Nice team. Nick is going to wrap this sucker up. You got Caleb Williams and Jerome Ford, a wide receiver to be named later, and Pat Frymuth, the Muth is Luth, as your tight end. Let's round this team out. Who's your wide receiver, brother, that's going to vanquish Taylor into last place?
You know what? I've tossed up between a few guys. Everyone's taken a wide receiver, haven't they?
Yeah. This is the last pick. I
was going to say, because there was a few guys I was really looking at, particularly with Devontae Adams out. I was looking at Jacoby Myers, but I thought probably not against Denver's defense. I thought because he got like I think 10 or 11 targets last week, and I'm thinking, he should be able to. But
he might have been better off if Adams played. Because, you get the 13 treatment if you're the number one. It actually kind of makes it almost worse.
Kind of last thing in Trey Tucker. He was the guy I wrote down.
I picked him up in the league.
But I'm not going to go with Myers. I am going to go. I am actually going to go in that same game, but on the flip side, I'm actually going to go with Courtland Sutton.
Oh, Matty's boy.
Courtland Sutton.
If I hadn't taken Javonte, I had Sutton too.
Yeah. And you know what? I did obviously listen to the show from earlier in the week, and I do agree that Sutton. I think Bo Nix is as time will go on, he will become more comfortable and will grow under Sean Payton. But I think this week with Sean Payton against a team that he's seen, a couple of times last year, he sort of knows how to work against them. So I think they'll be able to run the ball, but I think it'll be a much better week for Bo as well. And I think Sutton, that's the clear number one with all those targets, should be putting up some points.
Your team, Nick, I would happily have your team.
Just trade.
Very happily. I feel like I've got 2 teams this week, Tay, so up yours. I really like your team. Ford, Sutton, Frymuth, I would have been super happy to have all of them. I didn't have Caleb Williams, but I get it. So Okay, colour me converted. Yeah, okay. I like Nick's team. I feel like if Kev has a problem with this team, I'd like him to meet me at the back of the pub and we'll go fisticuffs because it's a good team. No one fucking teach that bloke a thing or two about wrestling Crocs, mate. You think a Croc's scary. You see me when I've got to defend Nick's honour. And, mate, look at that. We got to the end. And, of course, we can find everything that you do with the G'day Gridiron guys. Same place you find all this. Of course, we're on every podcast carrier, but also find everything we do at the mothership. Ian and I have been calling it that for a little while, but it is our link tree, which has everything to do with the Aussie Gridiron Network. You can find links to all our shows. You can find links to the merchandise store. Get yourself a Conk shirt. That's brand new in the merch store. But also everything that Manjot does with Pastry Press NFL and his recent show, Aussie Gridiron Today, where he's starting to talk about what happens in Australian leagues. You can find all that there.
Thanks so much for coming on, Nick. This has been amazing. I hope your starts the week team sucks ass, by the way. But, mate, it's been so good. Like, to have your insight, obviously being a player that plays in the Australian leagues, just really good having you, obviously, on G'day Gridiron. But to have you on the fantasy show has been amazing, mate. So thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. I've enjoyed it heaps.
I've had a real blast. It's really great to actually get to work with you live on the radio for a change.
Like I said, me in fantasy, I can't believe I'm on a fantasy show.
How funny.
My expert opinion on fantasy. If
it makes you feel any better, your expert opinion is no worse than mine. I love your team.
We'll find out in a few days anyway.
100%.
It's been great to be on. You know, I've been listening to you guys for quite a while now, so it's good to be able to, you know, obviously been with G'day Gridiron, but having a taste of coming on with you guys as well. So it's been great. It's been great. And I did say this on the latest G'day Gridiron episode as well. Shout out to yourself and to Manjot for going out and, you know, presenting the game at the ACT level. It is fantastic. Wherever you're from, even as a fan, put the game in people's faces. As a player, as a coach, or whatever, it's a great game to play. If you're listening to an NFL fantasy show, it's even better just to even play it as the sport. Yes. So even just to get involved, have a team, support, go out, share their stuff on socials, whatever to grow the game in this country is just fantastic. And if you're listening to it, you already know how great of a game it is.
Bravo, Nick. Well said. And thank you too, because Manjot and I really love what we do with the Australian Gridiron, and especially here in Canberra. It's not a big comp here in Canberra. It's a small town to start with. And they've just been so welcoming to us. I haven't played for 10 plus years, so to have me back in the league in the capacity that I am, they've just been so welcoming. Manjot, who never played, he's so embedded in there. It's a really great community, and there's this wonderful brotherhood that comes with being involved in a community of a gridiron team that it's different to any other sport I'd ever played. And mate, bravo for saying that. And I echo everything you say about how wonderful of a community the gridiron community in Australia is, 100%. And it's great 100%. To actually get to work live with someone else who's been under a helmet in this country as well. So how about that? Don't get that every day.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. And thanks for having me on. I have appreciated it, being on the show.
Thank you for making the time. I hope you're not too traumatized. I do have a couple of numbers for good counsellors if you need. So just, let me know. Because working with Taylor, that'll do it to any man, no matter how strong and confident they feel in their day-to-day. He can really do a number on you, mate.
We've tried boxing him out. We'll see how we go this week.
Mate, you're mate. Yeah, we got this. Good luck with the starts of the week, team, mate. I can't wait to recap it when we're successful 1-2 in whatever order that is. And Taylor's just, we'll rename him Trailer because he'll be coming last.
Trailer, yes. Unhook the trailer.
Unhook him.
Just like my ladder said to Taylor Squad, unhook the trailer. That's what we're going to try and do.
Yes. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your weekend, but thank you again. And hopefully we can have you back again at some stage, but all the very best too with your season with the Hogs this year as well.
We'll do. Thank you very much, and can't wait for the next time.
Thanks, boys.
Peace out. See you, hooroo.
Hooroo.
For the Aussie Gridiron Network,
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
You'll find very quickly who's your friend in this segment and who's just out to fuck you up. So
I think you could probably have a guess.
And I think he's got some unresolved Sigourney Weaver stuff going on there too, to be very fair.
Aussie.
Everyone's thought he's been toast for a couple of years, but he legitimately is Vegemite toast now.
What's the opposite of good? Anyone got a word for that? Like
NFL.
I have no idea how I got onto a fantasy show at all.
How did that even happen? How did you get recruited by those idiots?
Fantasy.
Bit like Taylor's free throw percentage. I average a QB pressure per snap, but I won't tell you how many snaps I've had.
Yeah, don't ever. I want to tell anyone how many free throws I took.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Coconut.
Go on, Brendan, do it.
Coconut.